Hi everybody, it's me, Teresa Perrin, and in this video we are going to discuss COSM and the events that happened on Friday, as well as what I see going forward. I'm going to discuss my conversation with Robinhood. I'm going to discuss the call that I made to investor relations and my thought process going forward with this ticker, because we have quite a substantially small float compared to the number of shares that traded on Friday. And I think that the manipulation that occurred all day, there's reason behind. And in my opinion, this potentially could be GME 2.0 for several reasons, which we'll discuss in this video. So let's get started. Please remember that nothing I say is financial advice, and these are solely my opinions based on the incidents that occurred on Friday in COSM. If you could smash that like button for me, I'd greatly appreciate it, as it helps with the algorithms. All right, guys, I'm going to try to do a chronological review of this ticker to the best of my ability. I have so many different tweets and stuff that I sent out that day, as well as things I was doing in the background that I want to go over with you. But let's start with first thing that happened Friday morning when this ticker was first brought to my attention, guys. When I wake up every morning around 6:30, 6:45 a.m., the first thing I do is I turn on a stock scanner. While I'm laying in bed looking at tickers for the first 15 to 30 minutes of every day, I have this on in the background. And all of a sudden I hear COSM. Well, clearly those of you who follow me on Twitter and on, YouTube are well aware that COSM has been on my radar, and I have been in and out of this trade and actually had an open position when it double bottomed at 58 cents, I believe is when I had re-entered it again and kept it, despite the fact that it pulled back further, because I thought there was a valid case in my thesis for why I was going to hold this stock. So I was not aware of a reverse split, and neither was anybody else. Were we aware that there was a potential of one happening? 100% yes. And if you go way, way back, I had mentioned this a long time ago as one of my reasons perhaps to reconsider this trade. But I was under the understanding that when they got the NASDAQ continued listing approval, that perhaps they would try to extend this. But out of nowhere, guys, and I knew that there was going to be a vote, whatever, the shareholders voted and approved it. But out of nowhere, this occurred. And normally there's a 10-day notice from the NASDAQ. Now, I've been seeing a lot more of this as of late. And part of me is wondering if that's because these companies are aggressively trying to get back at these short sellers that are trying to destroy their company. And you'll notice that a lot of tickers have been heavily beat down. And I believe that their actions and the aggressive shorting that they're doing needs to be investigated by the SEC, because they are causing so many problems for a lot of good companies out there. And it's just absolute BS. And it tends to be the healthcare sector, biotech stocks that I notice have the worst of this happening, especially cancer drugs, guys. And it's very, very sad. Now, COSM, as far as I know, doesn't have anything to do with cancer drugs. However, they are in that biotech industry, and they've been the target of short squeezes, so much so that the company has actually hired an outside agency to start looking at the price action of their shares and to review it in the past and going forward. Now, let me just tell you, with my experience with Adder, anytime that I have seen a company get aggressive against these Wall Street, well, I'm going to call them criminals, because I believe that their actions are quite criminal, that they're targeting these companies, guys, and basically trying to bankrupt them. If you look at Adder, ever since they announced that they did something similar and proved naked shorting in their stock, they have brought that price down to $1. That is what Adder is trading at. Maybe $1 and a few cents, $1.10, $1.15. That's what it's been ranging on for quite some time. They have shorted the crap out of it, naked shorted it even more. It's aggressive. They're doing the same thing with COSM. And once they go on the defense and they try to get something in, it seems like it gets worse. Well, out of nowhere, COSM announces, you don't even see an article announcing. On their website at 9 a.m. I saw a posting. I'm not sure what time it actually went up. But going back to the beginning of this, at 6:45, 7 a.m., I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden I hear COSM, and this ticker flies up out of nowhere. Hits around $8. I think it might have been like $7.80. I'm just looking at like the price line on the scanner. I'm like, I got to grab a picture of this. I take a screenshot because I couldn't believe my eyes. And then it's immediately dropped down. 7:08 a.m. I go and I see what the price is on Webull. Guys, they had brought this price down to 0.4358 after a 25-to-1 reverse split was announced. Does that make any sense to you? Okay, so going back to my update I had wrote online, COSM, there is some shady stuff going on with this ticker this morning. It spiked to 7 in pre-market, and there was an announcement they performed a 1-for-25 reverse split. They did not. I think this is how these corrupt market makers are trying to hide their alleged naked shorts. Now, guys, the reason I thought they did not is because it came right back down to that 43 cents, and I went on NASDAQ.com and didn't see any announcements for a reverse split. So I thought maybe they had screwed up the ticker, and that's why you saw this spike followed by the immediate move down. I was not convinced that anything was going on because there was no announcement. So, of course, me being me, you know how obsessed I am with researching stuff when I see something that doesn't make sense. I start researching it. So much so that, like, this came, I did a video on it before I even put out my morning watch list that I put out every morning. Literally, it became my obsession on Friday and all I could focus on because something's not adding up here, guys. This is blatant manipulation. A price doesn't do a 25-for-1 reverse split and pull right back down to right around its prior price. I mean, that's 10 cents above where it closed at 33 cents the day before. It makes no sense. And even the math here for the reverse split where it spiked up to didn't make sense for the closing price. So, of course, I am very, very confused at this point because if you think 660 and then 7, 8, it should have gone up over $8 at 33 cents, right? I don't know, maybe they pulled it back down more in after hours, but at any rate, it shouldn't have been able to be pulled back down to 44 cents. So can't find anything. I'm looking for where I finally found something was on COSM's website, Cosmos Holdings Health. Cosmos Holdings Inc. changes its name to Cosmos Health Inc. and announces a 1-for-25 reverse stock split. Now, guys, there's something in here that I think is very interesting. Did they change the name to Cosmos Health to get a change of COSM number after the reverse stock split? Because this could be significant. And what I mean is, normally when a company does a reverse stock split, I don't believe that the COSM number changes. I'm going to have to do some more digging on that. And somebody please correct me if I'm wrong below. But I believe that the COSM number stays the same. Did they change this to Cosmos Health, wait till the last minute to announce this, and do a COSM change to trap the shorts? Because now my question is, what happens to all these people that are short tickers? And is this the reason why a bunch of funds didn't have shares to short? Because there was no notice given. Now, I do believe, and I could be wrong, that they're required to give the NASDAQ a 10-day advance notice of any ticker change. At least that's what the NASDAQ rules state. So how they're able to do this without notifying us in writing of the amount of the reverse stock split and the date, yes, it voted on it at the company's discretion, but they did not give a formal announcement of the stock split date, and the price, which I find extremely odd. And all I can find relating to that is this COSM change and this announcement that was made here. And you can see the reverse stock split was authorized at the company's annual general meeting on December 2nd, 2022, and was approved by the company's board of directors on December 15th, 2022. So it gets approved by the board, and the very next day they do a split. Something seems very, very odd here. Now, those of you who follow Frank Benedetto, my understanding is he has something to do with like investor relations or represents maybe retail investors or I don't understand his position, but there's a lot of people that follow this person in regards to COSM, and I think he does a couple other, public announcements and stuff with other stocks he's involved in. I'm not quite sure what the deal is. Somebody does know, you can tell me exactly who he is and what his position is. But he comes out and writes, events leading to a reverse split. NASDAQ was putting the pressure on Greg to do the reverse split. Due to the fact that we were automatically delisted pending appeal for being under 10 cents for 10 days. We only had until January 23rd to regain compliance of $1 for 10 days prior. He felt that was too risky for our listing. I was not informed due to corporate governance protocol that this is a material event, and given my loyalty to retail, was too risky to disclose to me. In hindsight, this was the right decision to withhold the information from me. I will be here to answer any old questions to the best of my ability, should you have any. Any information that I get, I will share with you immediately. All right, guys, so he puts this out. Something tells me that there is more to this, and I believe it probably has to do with the shorting and the change in COSM number. There's a lot of people out there saying that shorts are required to cover. Guys, the only way that may possibly be true if it's related to the change in COSM, and I cannot confirm that. I will do some more digging on it to see that. But normally when there's a reverse stock split, shorts aren't forced to cover. In fact, they generally short the stock down to oblivion more, and then it starts to move up. Now, will that be the case for COSM? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. All right, guys. So I started hearing on social media, and when I looked at the stock, I saw that this stock is temporarily untradeable. I'm not quite sure what time this is, whether it was before or after I attempted to try to sell a share to see if it would allow me to. And guys, it was locked. I could not buy. I could not sell. It said COSM. I just went to try to sell some of my shares to see what would happen. And it says trading is currently halted for this stock. There is something very fishy going on. Maybe there is a reverse split and it hasn't been adjusted yet. Hence the halt. At this point, I honestly don't know. So that's when I came out and said that, because I was confused, thinking, yeah, the reverse split that they're talking about, there has to be some kind of corporate action or something going on, which is why this isn't tradable. But the odd part is, guys, is that as the day went on, it was confirmed that there was a reverse split, as I showed you the article that you saw on Cosmos Health's website. And they didn't allow trading on Robinhood anyways in this stock until the very end of the day. I said, COSM, right at market close, they become tradable. Go figure. And you can see this even says after hours. So I may have caught this like a minute before, but I know that 10 minutes before market close, I had looked again and still nothing. Guys, very, very strange that all day long they would hold this out. Let's see. Now, for those of you that follow me, I had put this out after hours. I said, I am assuming the fact the market makers are allowing us to trade after the market is closed is because they plan to drive the price down on low volume to scare us to sell. Who knows at this point? One thing I know is there is a reason they didn't let us trade. Corrupt AF. You guys know what that means, I hope. I'm not going to say it because YouTube does not like you to use those words. But definitely corrupt, guys, because I'm looking for after hours. This is what they did to us. We closed the day in COSM somewhere above $20, right? This 22, I think, 2301. This was a few minutes literally after market closed, and we were down 11 cents, right? So we closed the day at 23.12. Well, guys, at 8 p.m., they had driven this price all the way down to $7.23. That's essentially a third of the price it closed at. Less than a third of the price it closed at. That's disgusting, and that is absolutely just not possible based on the volume after hours. This is market maker manipulation. And you can see down $15.89 or 68.73% after hours. There's no freaking way. It didn't have the volume to support that. Absolutely 100% impossible. Naturally, guys. But this whole thing has been a bunch of BS, and anyone who looks at it can clearly see it. And seriously, the SEC and FINRA need to do their job and stop this market manipulation and corruption from occurring. They are stealing. And guys, currently there is only, let me bring it up. This is according to the CEO, or according to at least Cosmos Health personnel. There are only 7.7 million shares post-split. 7.7 million. Want to know how many shares were traded? 120 million shares were traded on a 7.7 million share stock on Friday. You're telling me that almost 18 times the float was traded in one day? 18 times the float. Go back in my videos. There's another stock that did this recently as well. I'm telling you guys, this corruption is getting ridiculous. I believe it was SMMT that had something similar, but I'd have to go back and double check. My mind is spinning right now because the corruption is just beyond disgusting, and it's unacceptable. 120 million shares traded of a stock that has 7.7 million shares, guys. And after hours, they drive it down to a third of its price. A 1 for 25 reverse split, and they drive it down to essentially just about the price that it closed at? Come on. That's not reality, and that did not happen. Now, gets more interesting. I called Robinhood out on it. Guys, this may not be in the right order, so I'm trying to, I think I have to start back here. I'm trying to see the way, let's see. All right, guys, I have to try to find the beginning of this. All right, will I still be able to buy COSM on Robinhood? Is the current price being shown of $6.53 reflecting the split, or has it not been adjusted as the entire price action seems very fishy? I get nothing back from them. I say, hello? Nothing. A big question mark. Still nothing. Finally, I get a response back. Great question here, and thank you for your patience. After a split happens, the price may fluctuate and be similar to the pre-split price, depending on the fluctuation in the stock price after the split. Guys, I've seen many stock splits, and never, ever, ever, that same day did it go down in a few candles 25 times down, back to where it traded at. No, maybe if they did a 2 for 1 or a 1 for 2 rather reverse split, so for every 2 shares you got 1, maybe you might see that happen. A 1 for 25, no, never, ever, ever in my life have I seen what happened in this stock. Now, and I've been in the market for 25 years, guys. This is BS. After a split happens, the price may fluctuate and be similar to the pre-split price, depending on the fluctuation in the stock price after the split. Well, if we're not able to trade it, how on earth can there be fluctuation? Who's trading it is what I wanted to know, right? The current price is correct based on the post-split price, But please note that your shares have not been adjusted yet. So those of you in your account that saw you had your original amount of shares, like I could still see, which made me say there was no reverse split because I'm still showing the same amount of shares, which made my account look a lot better than it looked after they adjusted it, right? The current price is correct, but the post-split price has not, and your shares have not been yet adjusted. Okay, well, why not, guys? That was strange too, right? You would be able to continue to purchase COSM once the split has been processed by us, because I had asked them, am I still going to be able to buy it? And then I say, I don't see how a stock that splits to 25 times its price, then immediately drops 25 times in a matter of a few minutes. I watched it happen. I have seen many stock splits and never have I seen one trading at around 30 cents the day before split, one for 25, and immediately dropped down from $8 to 40 cents. He's not writing back, so I say. Then for retail traders to not even be able to buy or sell during this time seems to be very unfair and not a free and fair market. I can't be the, it should have said, only person addressing this concern. Typo. Completely understand where you're coming from here, and it can be surprising to see a stock decrease in price substantially after a split. I see that the price of the stock dropped quickly at the beginning of the day and has since increased in value since then. The price of a stock is determined by the buyers, sellers in the market, and it won't necessarily match the split ratio the day a split happens. We do hope to have this split process soon so you can buy more or sell your shares. Yeah, you think? Guys, they did not have it all day long. I say, I know you don't have any authority to say more, but you and I both know that this is completely bogus. Thanks for your help. Have a nice day. I waited a few seconds, didn't get a response, so I just clicked out. Those beginning texts, this is how I started it, guys, just so you know. I said, I'd like to understand how a stock can undergo a 1 for 25 reverse split and essentially immediately drop down to pretty close to the pre-split price. Will I still be able to buy COSM on Robinhood? Is the current price being shown of $6.53 reflecting the split, or has it not been adjusted as the entire price action seems very fishy? So I had told you part of that, I believe, but not the rest. So I just want to be fully transparent. And then will the stock be able to be bought and sold on Robinhood after it is processed? That's correct. The split is effective as of this morning. COSM is temporarily untradeable while our team processes the specific instructions of the reverse split. We will follow up with you once the reverse split has been processed and you are able to trade your post-split shares accordingly. There was no follow-up. Let me just have you know. It just suddenly, like literally maybe a minute before opening or maybe right after, I'm not sure exactly the time frame there, it was right around close of day, so right around 4 p.m. that they allowed it. And probably they did that, guys, so that they could be able to say that it wasn't halted the entire trading day. So why not open it 1 or 2 minutes before the end of market close so that they can somehow legally get around preventing the trade of it during market hours the entire day. Although, you know, allowing it for the last 2 minutes is just absolutely bogus. And then, guys, to have it open up at $20-something and drop it all the way down to $7. No lie, I looked at it, was like, oh, great, it's going up. Came back, looked at it, and was like, I already know the game they're going to play with this. Whatever. I mean, at this point, I believe that Monday is going to be very interesting. And there's a couple things that I have in mind, but I just want to show you that even with all that craziness that was going on, 65% of COSM's total volume on Friday was done in the dark pool, guys. And only 2% were sweep orders, which would indicate somebody taking an aggressive position, whether it be long or short. And only 2% were block trades as well. And block trades represent institutional trading. So I found that interesting. Comparatively, for the past 20 days, the average was 40%. Why such a huge difference? Has to make you wonder, right? Now, with 120 million shares being traded of only a 7.7 million share stock, you better believe there's an opportunity for this thing to have a massive short squeeze. If what people are saying regarding the short split is correct, then it could prove to be very interesting. Now, I like this stock that was retreated by Coastal South Enterprises that this person Hammer wrote. It says, COSM, I love the CEO of this company. He's literally waging a war with the shorts. He's closing warrants and buying shares at a premium. He released a statement saying his average purchase share price is over $5 and he has no intent of selling. He scheduled a meeting with the SEC to discuss listing status and abusive short selling. He has now hired a third-party intelligence service to monitor abusive short selling activities. This is awesome to watch. I'm not selling bullish. Guys, this whole thing reeks of corruption, unfortunately, which I'm not so sure whether or not that's going to be a good or a bad thing. But Uncle Smokey brought up something that I agree 100% with. He says, please at SEC Gov, tell me how a ticker coming off a reverse split tanks 95% with a halt in pre-market trading. Then with what I can assume to be a pump of capital to ensure a FOMO run, followed by a fake sell-off, where is the volume to support this drop? Retail didn't make that move. Guys, 100%. Retail didn't make this move at all in here, and none of this is adding up. And look at, they bring it right to that 8.31% Fibonacci retracement level. And it topped off at the 205. Just very interesting if you start to look at these levels and how they're playing this. I mean, personally, my opinion is this can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to tank it down more in pre-market, followed by a massive runoff. If, in fact, the COSM number does mean that the shorts have to cover, I would have thought that they would have already had to. But people are saying with the T+2 that they don't. But that doesn't make sense to me, guys. And I firmly believe that shorts don't have to cover ever. I feel like they always have a way out of things. And if they were going to get trapped, this might reveal, if anything, the amount of naked shorting that was in this stock when they changed over that COSM. Because if the COSM number has changed, why would they have more time? All of those shares would have already been accounted for that were short and long. The only thing I can think of that this would do would be to show the actual numbers. As far as the shorts having to cover, I don't see the validity in that, because generally when people say that the shorts have to cover due to a COSM change, they need to cover 2 days before that change. So how would that even be possible with them not knowing that this was coming? Because nobody knew that this was coming. So I'm not quite sure that that's the case. I would think it would carry over to the new COSM, given that it's the same stock, just like our shares carried over to the new stock. The short positions would do the same. Now, I think that it's a bunch of crap that shorts have to cover for any reason. I could be wrong, but I don't believe, from what I've seen in this market so far, that I am. The opportunity that I see here is going to be one that is very hard to play out, because I'm going to be honest with you. Retail gets bored very easily in these stocks lately, and it's been proven time and time again that they just don't hold. In order for this stock to really have a chance to go to the moon, retail would need to be diamond-handed like they were with GME and refuse to sell any of their shares and just keep buying to put the pressure on them. Clearly, with 120 million shares trading on Friday, you better believe that there was naked shorting going on. It's the only way that physically would be possible. Granted, I'm sure there was a lot of buying and selling, especially on that run up for people that could buy and sell. But ultimately, guys, if you expect to see a massive short squeeze, there's no doubt in my mind that one would be possible. The doubt in my mind is that retail at this point in time would have the ammunition and the willpower to do what they did with GME, which is what you would need to see here for a true short squeeze to occur. This would 100% have the opportunity, in my opinion, because there's only 7.7 million shares now. It's a very, very small float. There's a lot of attention on this name. It can be done, but again, retail would need to be diamond handed. And I'm not telling anyone to be diamond handed or to buy or to sell or to hold or do anything. Please, please know that this is a very, very high risk play. There's money that you could make. There's money that you could lose. All depends on how it's played and what the market makers are going to do. If you can't see by now that this stock is being manipulated, it has been for a very long time and they haven't stopped. All day Friday was proof that this market is not honest, it is not fair, and it's not even a free and fair trading environment when they take away the buy and the sell button. It's wrong. Again, they're going to blame it on the company and not having the information, but why could other brokers allow you to buy it? Let's get real here. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know what others are thinking on this. Sorry this video was so long, but there was a lot of information I wanted to get out there, and I hope that you guys find this helpful. Again,